A farmer stopped by the local mechanic's shop to have his truck fixed. They couldn't do it while he waited, so he said he didn't live far and would just walk home. On the way home, he stopped at the hardware store and bought a bucket and a gallon of paint. He then stopped by the feed store and picked up a couple of chickens and a goose. However, struggling outside the store, he now had a problem: how to carry his entire purchases home. While he was scratching his head, he was approached by a little old lady who told him she was lost. She asked,
"Can you tell me how to get to 1603 Mockingbird Lane?"
The farmer said,
"Well, as a matter of fact, my farm is very close to that house. I would walk you there, but I can't carry this lot."
The old lady, who was very good at solving puzzles, suggested,
"Why don't you put the can of paint in the bucket? Carry the bucket in one hand, put a chicken under each arm, and carry the goose in your other hand."
Why did I not think of it before? Thank you very much.
He said, and proceeded to walk the old lady home. On the way, he says,
"Let's take a shortcut and go down this alley. We'll be there in no time."
The little old lady looked him over cautiously, then said,
"I am a lonely widow without a husband to defend me. How do I know that when we get in the alley you won't hold me up against the wall, pull up my skirt, and have your way with me?"
The farmer said,
"Holy cow, lady, I'm carrying a bucket, a gallon of paint, 2 chickens, and a goose. How in the world could I possibly hold you up against the wall and do that?"
The old lady replied,
"Set the goose down, cover him with the bucket, put the paint on top of the bucket, and don't worry, I'll hold the chickens."
Little Johnny comes running into the house and asks, "Mommy, can little girls have babies?" "No," says his mom. "Of course not." Little Johnny runs back outside, yelling to his next-door neighbor, "It's okay, we can play that game again." Little Johnny was in a job interview one day when the manager handed him his laptop and said, "I want you to try and sell this to me." So he put it under his arm, walked out of the building, and went home. Eventually, the manager called his mobile phone and said, "Bring it back here right now." Little Johnny replied, €100 and it's yours. One night, little Johnny was really scared, sleeping by himself at a camp. So he sprinted out of his tent and runs to his teacher's tent and asked,
"Miss Honey, can I please sleep with you tonight?"
His teacher replies,
"No."
Johnny moans and says,
"But my mummy lets me."
"Okay then, just for tonight."
The teacher replies. Johnny jumps into bed with her and asks,
"Miss Honey, can I please play with your belly button with my finger?"
She again says,
"No."
"But my mummy lets me."
says Johnny again.
"Well, I suppose it's okay."
Replies the teacher. Things are silent for a few minutes until the teacher leaps up screaming,
"That's not my belly button!"
Little Johnny replies,
"It ain't my finger either."
An old cowboy was sitting on his porch when he saw little Johnny walking with something in his hand. He yelled, "What you got there, boy?" Little Johnny said, "Chicken wire. I am going to catch me some chickens." The cowboy laughed at him in disbelief and said, "Good luck." In the afternoon, the old cowboy saw little Johnny walking back with 20 chickens on his shoulders. The next morning, he saw little Johnny again with something in his hand. And again, he yelled, "Hey, Johnny, what you got there?" Little Johnny replied, "Duct tape. I am going to catch me some ducks." Sure enough, in the afternoon, little Johnny was walking back with 20 ducks. The cowboy was impressed. The third day came, and the cowboy saw little Johnny again with something in his hand and said, "Hey, boy, what you got there now?" Little Johnny said, "It is a pussy willow branch." The old cowboy said, "Hold on, boy. Let me grab my hat. I'm gonna help you this time." There was a shy farmer who lived close to one of the most beautiful and sexiest girl you've ever seen. This farmer never had the courage to talk to her, just a hello once in a while. One day, someone knocked on his door, and when he opened it, it was that girl wearing very sexy and revealing clothes. The girl gave a nice hello and then hugged him, and she said,
"I hear someone is coming. Why don't we go inside?"
She comes in and asks the farmer.
"Which part of my body impresses you the most?"
The farmer said,
"Your ears."
The girl said,
"I work out 5 days a week to have this body, and my ears impress you? Why?"
The farmer said,
"Remember we were hugging and you said let's go in because you heard someone coming?"
"Yes."
"It was me."
A guy goes into a bar for a shot and a beer. He notices a jar full of $100 bills and asks the bartender,
"What gives?"
The bartender explains,
"You put in a $100, then go out back. My Rottweiler is out there with a bad tooth. You go out and pull that dog's tooth. He's mean, so be careful. Then you go upstairs and you please my mother who hasn't had a man in 40 years. You complete these 2 tasks and you win the jar."
"Nah, never mind,"
says the guy. After several more shots of tequila, he finally caves and says,
"You know what? I'm in."
tossing his $100 in the jar. He goes out back and everybody hears the sounds of
Yip, yipe.
A moment later, the guy, all scratched up and bleeding, comes in and says,
"Okay, now where's that old lady with the bad tooth?"